Sandra here, and you're watching True School Sports.
My flow, my show brought me to go. That brought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you'd be happy I made it.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I wanted to talk about one of the light heavyweight division's best fighters, and yes, he's about 11 or 12 fights into his career now, and I'm putting that on because that's how highly I think of this fighter right here. And we're talking about Mr. Joshua Buasti. Joshua Buasti fought on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. He fought the veteran and former world title challenger Marco Antonio Paraban, who had not fought in 2 years. I believe his last fight before this one, he was coming off a 2-year layoff, and his last fight was against Avni Yildirim, who many of us may remember challenged for the world title against Anthony Durrell in his most recent fight, and also got stopped by Chris Eubank Jr. in the World Boxing Super Series. But Paraban is a good, tough, rugged fighter. It was the kind of fight for Buasti where you wanted to see him make a statement against a fighter who had really not fought in a while, against a fighter that isn't an outright bum, but at the same time he never really proved himself at that world level. So Buasti being, with his amateur pedigree, with his amateur exploits, along with the skills he's showing in the pros, we want to see a statement from him. And I thought it was a good fight, man. When we talk about Buasti and how he looked in this fight, I thought early on he was controlling the rounds with his jab, with his ring generalship, things like that. But he couldn't quite find the right hand. For 3 rounds, I think it was about 3 rounds, because he got a 4th round stoppage. For 3 rounds, he was missing with the right hand. He was just missing with it because Paraban is kind of awkward, so it took him some time to find the right hand. But when he found it in the 4th round, he hurt Paraban, and when he hurt Paraban, he stopped Paraban. So I thought it was a quality performance from Buasti. He's showing improvements every fight. He's someone that is ranked. I believe at this point, I haven't checked recently, but at this point he's got to be ranked at least top 10 in every sanctioning body. And I'll say it like this, man. I think Joshua Buasti is probably one of the best light heavyweights out there, and I think he's more than ready to compete with the best light heavyweights out there. I mean, I sincerely believe in my heart of hearts that Joshua Buasti can go on there with Sergey Kovalev, Dmitry Bivol, Alexander Gvozdyk, Artur Beterbiev. The list goes on and on. All those top light heavyweights, the champions. And if he gives most of those guys good fights and can beat some of those guys, because he's a special type of a fighter, with his amateur pedigree, with his smarts, with his composure. That's probably his best attribute, because it's easy to look at him and see the punch selection or the combinations or things like that. But the best attribute Joshua Buasti has is his composure and his patience. And that's what I feel is going to take him far in his boxing career as he continues to progress to the professional ranks of boxing. He's a patient fighter. He knows how to set up his punches. He knows how to get fighters to react a certain way to the punches. And when he gets you hurt, he finishes you. And these are all positive things. And Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, and all parties involved, AJ Bach, Anthony Joshua as his manager, they've been moving him real good, man. They've been moving him real good. And he did to Paraban what you want to see him do to a fighter at that level. And I understand, people are going to say, well, it's just Paraban. You can't get too excited over him beating a guy like Marco Antonio Paraban. But at the same time, it's like, if a fighter fights a guy who's a lesser caliber than him, you want to see him make that fighter look like he's lesser than him. You don't want to see him fight down to the levels of his opposition, because we saw that earlier in the night, or later that night, when Josh Kelly fought Ray Robinson. He fought down to his level of opposition, and we'll get into that in another video. But I'm just saying, Buasti's showing talent, he's showing composure, he's showing a lot of poise. And it's funny because if you look at Matchroom Boxing right now, there's a lot of people that get hype. Candlin Smith's getting a lot of hype, Katie Taylor's getting hype, Josh Kelly had a draw, but he's still going to get his hype. Anthony Joshua's obviously the cash cow of Matchroom Boxing. But I'll tell you this, man. if you told me, if you held a gun to my head, if you held, I'm gonna say it to you like this. If you held a gun to my head and you said, Brendan, you have to bet with your life that somebody in the Matchroom Boxing stable of fighters is gonna be a dominant world champion, who are you gonna bet your money on? If I had to do that, it would be this guy right here. It would be Joshua Buasti, because he's a very, very intelligent fighter. He has incredible skills. He's got really good composure. He's just a very well-balanced man. Forget fighting for a second. He's a very well-balanced man. And when somebody is as smart and intelligent as Joshua Buasti outside the ring, and they can use that intelligence and apply it within the ring, then they have a chance to go forward in boxing. And I'll say it right now, I think he can beat at least 2 of the 4 light heavyweight champions right now. I think he can beat Kovalev right now, and I love Kovalev, but I think he beats Kovalev. I think he would beat Gvozdyk. I think it's too quick and too sharp for Gvozdyk. Bivol will probably be his hardest fight, because Bivol's foot feints and Bivol's just accuracy and the way he's able to manipulate fighters is on another level. Beterbiev, I think he'd stop Beterbiev. I think he's that good. I think right now you put him in there with every light heavyweight champion except Bivol, he's beating them right now. That's how good I think Joshua Buasti is right now. And then as far as him, the main talk I know from a lot of the UK fans is like, Bivol versus Anthony Yarde. Is he better than Anthony Yarde? Can he beat Anthony Yarde? Look, if they ever made that fight, let's just say it like this, if they make that fight within the next year, he is going to end the Yarde hype train before it even got started. That's how good Buasti is. And Tunde Ajayi, his trainer and manager, knows that. I know that. You know that. Matchroom Boxing knows that. Fish Eyes Frank Warren knows that. And that's why the fight's not happening, because in a perfect world, that fight would be happening for the British title, and we would see just what Anthony Yarde is made of. And I'll tell you this right now, if Anthony Yarde goes in there and was to ever beat Joshua Buasti, I think that would be a massive statement, because I rate him. I really rate Joshua Buasti. I think he's an absolutely exceptional talent. I think he's probably, forget like heavyweights, I think he's one of the best upcoming prospects in boxing. There's really not much in the ring that he does wrong. He's a very well-balanced fighter, and it's a rare combination in boxing. It's a rare combination in boxing when you get a fighter who's well-balanced and who's a well thought out as far as what he's doing in the ring, who has high ring IQ. Because a fighter can be skilled in one department and be deficient in others. You might get a fighter who's very technically sound, but he doesn't have the power. And then you might get a fighter who has power, but he's not technically sound. And you might get a fighter who is complete in both areas, but they're not really quite sharp mentally. And Buasti, to me, from what I've seen, from what I've learned about him, from what I've read about him, he's sharp all the way across the board. And that's why I'm saying it right now. He could, I say without question right now, that he could beat 3 of the 4 light heavyweight champions right now, and he's not even 15 fights into his pro career. I would bet my money. I would bet my money right now. And I'm not a betting man. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a betting man. I'm not someone who likes to sit here and say, oh, I bet on this guy, I bet on that guy, because I don't like betting on boxing, because you can be right and still be wrong in boxing if the judges don't see the fight correctly. So I don't say that too much. I don't say that about too many fighters, but with Buasti, that's how much I really rate him. He's an exceptional talent. He knows how to adjust. He showed that in this fight. I know it was against a lesser fighter, but when you get an awkward fighter like this, a veteran who's been in tough fights in his career, sometimes these guys are hard to stop. And we've seen that throughout the course of boxing history. Look at a fight like, if you guys remember when Andre Ward was on his comeback trail, he fought Alexander Brand, a fighter who, it's not the most, in terms of comparing him to Ward, he's not as skilled as Ward, but Ward didn't get him out of there because Brand had been in tough fights. Brand was very awkward, had a lot of amateur experience, and he knew his way around the ring. And it was the same thing with Parabrand. He kind of fit the Alexander Brand build and mold. And Buasti was missing with his right hand. If you go back and watch it, he was missing with his right hand constantly in the first 3 rounds, but he shortened it up. He bettered his positioning before he threw the punch. And when he hurt him, he finished him. And I think in this fight right here, you can kind of see the boxing IQ of Joshua Buasti. You can see the intelligence of Joshua Buasti. And I'll tell you right now, he fights any one of the three of the 4 light heavyweight champions not named Dimitri Bivol, I'm picking him to win. And that includes Kovalev. And y'all know how much I love Kovalev. Y'all know how much I rate Kovalev. I even went as far as to say many times in many of my Kovalev videos, if you go check the receipts, I've said that Sergey Kovalev is one of the top 25 best light heavyweights to ever put on a pair of boxing gloves. And I hold true to that. And I think Buasti beats him right now on this day. So that's my take on Joshua Buasti and his performance against Paraban, and just where I think he's at in his career right now. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below about Joshua Buasti. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. You know, as you can see, I'm patrolling the streets of Hollywood. Ain't really anybody out here, but if they run up on me, you know, they don't want no smoke. So yeah, I'm gonna keep walking, and you guys have a blessed night. So yeah, leave your comments down below, smash that like button like it was your ex-girlfriend. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.
This is Earl Smith Jr. You're watching True School Sports. All right.